G'day Hawks fans, welcome to Talking Hawks. I'm Matt. Thanks for joining us tonight. We're on a few different platforms and we've got a couple of special guests coming up. Talking Hawks is all about connecting Hawks fans from around the world, and tonight we're demonstrating that with the Box Hill and Hawks crossover with Zane Littlejohn joining us. So we've got Ed Sill, president of Box Hill, also joining us. So sit tight, bring your best questions tonight, and in the chat, let us know where you're tuning in from, and we'll keep an eye out for some of your questions along the way. If you are following us on the different socials, enjoy our podcast. We've had a great number recently with some Hawthorn players. And if you haven't subscribed on YouTube, please jump in there and join the party. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce Zane Littlejohn. He's come to us with a lot of experience, and let me just welcome him in from the foyer. Zane, good evening. How are you going?
Good, thanks, Matty. Yeah, fantastic, mate. Thanks for having me on. Really exciting.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure, mate. You have got quite the resume. I think Box Hill and the Hawks have been very smart and wise to snaffle you. So I'm glad you've come after 6 years up in the heat. You've done all climates. A couple of years. Well, let me try and run through the resume briefly and correct me where I may be wrong. But in the Tassie State League, you've scored a couple of flags there as a coach. Originally going right back, a Latrobe boy. So you've done a bit of Vic, a bit of Tas, and then teaching along the way in Tassie while you were doing all of the coaching down there. Development at the Tassie, what was that? Tassie State League, was it? What was your development role down there?
Yeah, so I worked for AFL Tasmania as a junior development officer. So in that period, I did my traineeship in sport and rec. So it was 2 years, or I spent 3 years, sort of did over 2 certificates over 3 years. And in my third year, I sort of wasn't guaranteed a job, sort of still working full time with AFL Tas. So I sort of had to make a decision what I wanted to do. And that's where uni came in and teaching. So I really liked working in the schools and teaching footy, and sort of gave me the confidence to have a crack at going to university, and that's sort of where the teaching came from.
It's brilliant to get that opportunity, AFL Tasmania at a young age. It's quite incredible, and geez, you're a sprightly 36, I think I read somewhere along the way. So off to 6 after your stint in Tassie at the State League, coaching, couple of flags, as I said. Brisbane Lions up there again in a developmental role. So 6 years up at the Lions. I'll let you tell us about that. But very fortunate to grab you down in Victoria again. Geez, your family's gone everywhere. Frequent flyer points must be amazing. Now in the brown and gold, you're flying here with a focus on the players, the young players in the years 1 to 5 at the Hawks, but also Box Hill. Senior coach, so one of the busiest men in football. Did I miss anything in all of that?
Yeah, mate, you've done pretty well. So yes, obviously a couple of years. I played a bit of footy, but I sort of decided that I wanted to give footy away. Or not decided, it sort of just happened that I gave footy away pretty early just to purely concentrate on my coaching. So I coached North Launceston under 18s, and also played senior footy in the same year, and really struggled mentally at the end of the year or games or the weekend. I was just so mentally drained. So I'm at university, I'm coaching, and then I'm also trying to play senior footy at a pretty high standard. And I was just so fatigued at the end. So I thought something had to give, and I didn't really enjoy the playing year. So I thought, well, I'll give playing away for 12 months and just concentrate on coaching. And I was young enough to go back and play if I ever wanted to, and never gone back. So I just followed the coaching path. And I think we were talking earlier, so I was very lucky to land at Brisbane, and when I did, and I was just happened a lot than I thought it ever would. And and then obviously head to Brisbane and work with some amazing coaches and mentors up there to sort of set me up and keep me on the right path of developing as a young coach. And I've got a lot of learning to go. I'm nowhere near at the level I want to be, and at the standard I want to be. So as much as I try and drive our players, I've got those behaviours as well to continue to improve.
Mate, it's I love hearing the focus on the young people, the development, but also culture has been something that was named as something that you bring to a club, to that environment. So I think that's really important to set up that younger generation for success and integrating within a club. There's a lot culturally going on, so that's no small task you've got doing it in one club, let alone two. So I know you've got some great backing at Box Hill, but tell me, how have you personally settled in, your family, settling into a Box Hill team, getting to know everybody you need to know there, from a coaching through to existing and new players, and then also your Hawthorn commitments as development coach? How have you done all of that at once?
Been a busy transition. Oh, you got me? Yeah, I'm back. Yeah, we go.
I think we've got a little bit of a lag. It's okay.
So I won't lie, it's been a busy transition. I'm super lucky. I've got a super supportive wife who I guess lets me chase my dreams. I'm very lucky to have someone in my corner who does that. And as anyone involved in footy knows, we've got to have a very supportive family. So not only my wife, my two young children are very supportive, and they've settled in. I think I truly didn't really settle into probably Melbourne and the Hawthorn and Box Hill firms my family had. And my wife's now found a job, kids are settled into school, and we've got a bit of a routine. So I feel a lot more settled now and a lot more comfortable in what I'm able to provide to the people that I come across at Hawthorn and Box Hill. So, settled in well. The weather hasn't been too bad, so we're waiting for that winter to come, and that might be the shock to the system after 6 years in the sunshine. So we know what to expect. My wife and I do anyway, coming from obviously Tasmania, but my two children who they've spent majority of their life in Queensland, might be a bit of a shock for them come June, July, August.
Oh, we'll get them some good Box Hill kit and maybe a Hawks jumper or two, mate. I'm sure they'll be fine. Look, I'm fascinated to know, Zane, your role at the Hawks and where you'll start. How much of it is, I guess, what you're dovetailing into the existing fabric of the game plan, what you're bringing that's new and your own a fresh set of eyes? Because I think Sam would be quite open to that, and the coaching group from the outside looking in. But I'm interested to know, starting off, how much of it is you learning what's there, bringing your own thing, and how much do you see your role evolving this year with the Hawks?
Yeah, I think, and it's all about me just coming in and I guess finding out the Hawthorn way. That's probably the first thing. I don't want to come in and try and change the Hawthorn way and as such, and I just need to add my flavour and my, I guess, my taste to it. But look, as I mentioned before, I'm still learning. I still got a lot to learn. So I'm really excited about not just learning from Sam, but all the assistant coaches and coaches at the Hawthorn Footy Club who've all played at the level. I'm the only coach on the coaching staff at Hawthorn who hasn't played AFL footy, so I don't have that experience to offer players and that, but I do feel I've got another perspective to offer. It's purely based off my life learnings and my teaching education background. So I'll continue to feel it out and find. But I've had obviously conversations with all the coaches, working really closely with Chris Newman and the forwards at the moment. I mean, that space, and just adding my, I guess, as I mentioned before, my flavour and my taste to what how Chris is teaching our forwards, and and the same with obviously Andy Collins, the head of development, and Dave McKay there. So just trying to support them and support all the coaches. As the Box Hill coach, obviously, my role is to continue to support the program and make sure the players who come into the Box Hill program from Hawthorn are playing a style of football that's going to get them to play AFL footy when their time comes, that they're not going in to play AFL footy and they're back with Box Hill the next week. We want to make sure that the players who come into the Box Hill program can go back into Hawthorn and contribute and stay up there. That obviously not only helps the Hawthorn Footy Club, also helps the Box Hill Footy Club, because it means they're playing really good footy and really consistent footy, and everyone's happy then. Yeah,
brilliant. Look, that pathways, it's a fascinating one, because different players, different personalities, different development stages. So, and you've got a new, a brood of players as well in the Box Hill ranks. So even just getting them settled and knowing where they fit. We've got some new captains as well in Bees again. Hugh Beasley coming in again. Cole Austin Trophy winner, Cal Porter, who's been on Talking Hawks as well. We love what Ports brings. Stu Horner as well as vice. So you've got some great blokes there that we know are very committed to the cause and working in with whoever is part of that team, which is phenomenal. I think just it's quite selfless. So having that in the mix, it's quite amazing. How do you see those guys helping you in what you're trying to do at a Box Hill level? Just Box Hill alone.
Yeah, no, obviously really important there. We've obviously, and I can see some of the comments on the side here. One from Stephen about obviously Ethan Stanley, Kai Windsor last year, but Lockie Bryce are all new players who've been last year played majority of under-19 football. So they're new to one, senior footy, a full-time senior football program, and two, VFL level. So you talk about Stu Horner, who's a Box Hill young through and through, who's now a man who's started his trade in the development league when it was still around, and now obviously playing senior football at VFL level. And then you've got Cal Porter, who's been on AFL list, come back to VFL level, and same with Hugh Beasley. So those, what they can, I guess, teach and educate the young boys coming through, the Rices, Ethan Stanley, the Tristan Wax, these type of boys who are new to the VFL level will be invaluable and enhance their learning. As much as us, myself and the coaching group can help educate and guide them, it's going to be the real learning they get from their teammates on field, in games, which is where it's going to happen, and it's exciting. So I'll lean on them as my leaders, but not just those guys. The likes of Ed Phillips, Cow Brown, who's now in our program, who's played AFL footy, 7 AFL games, Paddy Nash as well. Like those, they've got a lot to offer and a lot to learn. A lot to help our younger guys learn on the Box Hill list. So they'll be invaluable. We feel a really nice balanced list in that space. So we've got some senior guys, but we've also got a lot of exciting talent who potentially do have some draftable traits, which we've got to try and foster and grow. And we know Box Hill has been a bit of a breeding ground for draftable talent in the past, so we don't want to lose that. And that's part of my role is to help get some young men, ideally on our list from the Box Hill program. So that will be a part of my thinking moving forward through the year and helping those young men. But understanding it's still not easy. There's still a lot of work that's got to go in, and there's got to be a bit of luck, and things have got to fall your way. But if all them cards align at the right time, I'm sure we could see some really exciting talent come through the Box Hill program again. Yeah,
it's clearly of interest. Like Alan Simons has also asked around who may have that AFL potential, and I won't ask that one now. But if look to the supporters, Zane's been generous enough to offer to join us a few different times through the season. So let's let him get the feet under the desk a little bit more, a little bit longer, and we might put the pressure on him a little bit later, see how he goes with that question. But I'm curious, in settling in, how have you found, I guess, actually two-part question, who influenced you the most in your coaching and in your coaching philosophies whilst you were at Brisbane? And to dovetail it, how have you found also working with Andy Collins, also a senior head, who clearly loves the brown and gold? I think we might be grappling with a little bit of internet speeds here tonight. Hang with us, fans. Ed, I can see Ed's in the background.
Got you back.
Get Ed just to join us. Say good day as well. There we go, Zane. He's back. Welcome, Ed. How are you?
Yeah, good. Thanks, Matt. Zane, thanks for having me on.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. Look, it's the opportunity to have you both on as president and coach at Box Hill. I couldn't refuse when you were both generous and able to spare some time with us. So, Zane, I might try and ask that one again. Ed, sit tight if you don't mind. But Zane, who in your time at Brisbane, from a coaching and in your coaching philosophies, who may have influenced you the most, and how is it, as a contrast, working with a seasoned coach and someone, a big lover of the Hawks in Andy Collins, since you've been down here?
Yeah, I was very lucky at Brisbane. Obviously, I wasn't in Fages' back pocket, but just observing how he went about it, and probably from his perspective, not playing at AFL level either. So an ex-Hawks man as well, spent plenty of time at the Hawks, which is fantastic. But just observing him, I'm a big watcher of people. I like to just watch how people do things. Quite often I'll go to an AFL game and I'll actually just watch what the coaches do, just from the stands, and just observe how they go about it, how they deal with their body language with players and things like that. So that he was one person, obviously, but there's probably two or three main people who I really had as mentors, and one of them is now at the Essendon Footy Club in Dale Tapping. He probably gave me the most confidence as a young coach coming through in AFL, just purely based off he hadn't played at the level as well. He'd been a VFL coach, and then Faze got him up to coach our midfield. And my first couple of years at Brisbane, I worked as a forward development coach, and then my middle 2 years, I went to coach the midfield, and Dale was obviously the senior AFL coach at that time. And I still remember the very first pre-season day, and we had a meeting in our lines, and Dale said to me, "You're running it, mate." I said, "Oh, what?" And just that to show the confidence in me, he had in me to go and run the meeting, and give me the opportunity to grow and learn and make mistakes, and help me learn from those mistakes was invaluable. I speak so highly of him just purely based off he knew my expertise, and he would always confide in me around that. So obviously having an education background, he goes, "Mate, we're struggling in this area of the game in our midfield. What's some ideas I can use to teach it and educate these guys?" So we'd bounce off each other in that space, which is really, again, as a young coach in a program who has aspirations to grow and be the best coach I can, it was just invaluable to have that experience as well. And then the likes of Mitch Hahn, who was the VFL coach, working under him, and again the confidence and support he gave me. And then Scott Borlace would be another one, who's the head of development there, who again just saw me for what I could offer, and helped me grow in the areas that I needed. So he would give me the opportunity. So he was our training coordinator at the time, so he would work closely with Faze and the senior coaching, planning training, and he would then give me the opportunity. "Right, mate, you've got the next month, you can help plan training. That's your opportunity to grow and develop skills that I needed to develop to continue to move through the AFL ranks," which was really important and really valuable for me. So yeah, very lucky to have those. But I actually got up with Taps the other night when we played over at the Hangar. He was there leading the footy club. Actually, yesterday we're finishing up for the day, and he came over and said good day. So great to see the man, and I owe him a lot. But I've got a lot of mentors. I'm very lucky, and it's one thing I've learned moving through footy and programs and as a young coach is to make sure I've got mentors who I can rely on, who are going to be honest with me and not just fluff around it and they're going to tell me the honest truth, which I'm very lucky. And I'm developing that relationship now with Colo, and he's been unbelievable early days for me, and just in regards to helping me understand the Hawthorn way, as I mentioned, and finding my place within that, and not trying to jump in where I maybe not needed as such, more guide me in the areas where potentially my expertise are going to be more valued and used really well. So he's been a great asset, and he'll work closely with me at Box Hill this year as my bench coach and help. What a great resource to have, who's coached a lot of AFL footy and been very successful. So I'd be silly not to lean on him and use his expertise throughout the year for sure.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, I'm conscious of time. Ed's back with us in the foyer here, but I might just fire a couple of quick ones at you, if that's all right, from some of the supporters that are with us, Zane.
Yep.
I don't think he is, but can you confirm Dave Brinker-Ritchie?
Yeah, so Brinks one, unfortunately, we did lose through the year. He got offered to play sample footy, which, as we know, within the Lion Footy Club at the Box Hill, is we can't guarantee Brinks a position every week. We were really keen to keep him and keep him. We thought he developed really well last year, and I was lucky enough to watch a few of his games and thought, he had a really good talent there who could potentially be a really good, solid VFL ruckman. But unfortunately, he got offered an opportunity to move, I think, to Woodville, West Torrens in the sample. So he's headed there for 2023. But we'll keep an eye on Dave and understand that, once you've sort of been a Box Hill, you're always welcome. So we feel he'd be a great asset into the future.
Well said. I like the recruitment. We'll keep an eye on him. So are you part of the match committee, Zane?
Yeah. I have a role in match committee. Naturally, I need to provide the match committee team some information on how the Box players, the Hawthorn players who come back to Box Hill have have performed. So part of my role will be in match committee is providing that information. And again, that's a new for me. It's not something I've sat in match committee, but I probably haven't had input in match committee before at Brisbane. So this is a new thing for me to continue to learn and provide Sam and the senior coaches and the senior match committee the information that they require to make the decisions to put the best team out for Hawthorn each week.
Yeah, brilliant. It would be good as we talk through the season just to understand a little bit more behind the scenes, perhaps, and us, you bringing us into your world and into the four walls. But I'll finish up with this one, Zane, and then we'll get Ed on. So Brooke asks about your thoughts with watching Cooper Stevens in. I'm assuming the Pracky matches here. He's talking about.
Yeah, so Coop missed our Geelong game, which would have been nice for him to run out against his old mob, but missed it because he just had a little concussion come out of the intra club. So unfortunately missed that. Then played Collingwood last Thursday night, and then played again for us against Williamstown, just to keep trying to get a consistency in his footy and his work rate. And stop his craft around the contest is elite. We're really pleased with what he's doing there, and he's got some great attributes to offer. The thing we need to for him is a bit like me, is just keep trying to find his place within the Hawthorn model. He's been at obviously a Geelong footy club for a while now and learnt that way, so he's just continuing to get continuity in his footy, and I think we'll see him play some pretty solid footy this year.
Yeah, brilliant. No, I like that he kept the powder dry and didn't play against the Cats. Let's see what he brings in the season proper. Hopefully, come Easter if he's a chance. But I'll let Ed join us, and I'll let you just wrap it up here, Zane. Just this season ahead, what can the supporters? You've got Sydney versus Box Hill in 2 weeks' time, I believe. You can tell us the exact date and location, but what can the supporters expect in that game and from Box Hill this season?
Yeah, so we head to Sydney round 1 Sunday. I think it's Sunday 25th, if I remember, 24th, 25th, around that period. Anyway, I know it's Sunday, so I'll work on days rather than dates. But Sunday in a couple of weeks we go over there and play, which will be a great test for us. First up, obviously played finals last year, deep in the finals at VFL level. So and they obviously played AFL grand final day. So they've got some good talent on their list, which is going to be a great test for us. But we're going to be we want to play obviously an exciting brand of footy that's going to compete week in, week out. And we had a really good lesson of that on Friday night with our younger group who played. And the learning for them is as I think I spoke to Peter Budge after the game, the learning for us that came out of that game is purely just understanding that when things aren't going our way, is continuing to stay to the process and trust that, and therefore the outcome will take care of itself. You'll hear me say that a lot this year. Trust the process because the outcome will take care of itself. And a lot of those guys are still learning the process. So we'll have a nice, obviously early in the year, Hawthorn are quite healthy. So we'll have a few little selection dilemmas because we've got some good young boys who are performing really well. We've got some senior players who are performing really well as well, which is exciting as a coach and never easy, but it's exciting to have those problems. So, which holds us in really good stead moving forward. And then, unfortunately, we have a bye round 2, so we sort of lose a bit of continuity there. But we've had a good block leading into Sydney, or after Sydney would have been 5 games straight. So a bye will probably be about due around that time. And then we get a nice good run of 4 or 5 games, and we get a game at the G against the Cats before Easter Monday, which is really exciting. So great for our Box Hill boys. A lot of that, again, we'll have some boys who have never walked on the MCG before, which is going to be great. Isn't that exciting? Some good young talented men being able to be exposed to that. Will be great. If I was their age, what an opportunity. So which is going to be really exciting.
I think you'll feed off the energy. Zane, it's been a pleasure. Thanks for your insights and really appreciate your time. Look forward to having you back on, and good luck with your first game and as in the seat as senior coach and in your Hawthorn role.
Yeah, no, thanks very much, mate. Appreciate you having me, mate. And as I mentioned, happy to jump on when you need me through the year and keep the fans up to date with what's happening at Box Hill and where I can, what's happening inside the Hawthorn 4 walls as well. And fantastic. Thanks very much.
It's a pleasure's ours. Thanks, Zane. Take care.
Bye.
Ed, welcome.
Okay.
Thanks for joining us. A little bit impromptu and kind enough to join us once again, mate. Exciting season. You've got a cracker in Zane. it's lovely. We've seen a bit of footage and heard a little bits and pieces through the social media of the Hawks in Box Hill, but lovely to hear from him in person. Geez, what a catch.
He's good. So I think these things never happen over a very short period of time. So Zane's been in Hawthorn's sights for 2 or 3 years in one form or another. And that's just the way it works. And he's kept on sort of bubbling up to the top of conversation. So I know Rob McCartney's been very keen, and then Sam's got to know him sort of prior to the appointment as well, which was good. It was a bit bittersweet because Chris Fagan is a board member at Box Hill for a number of years when he was at Hawthorn. So he was disappointed to lose Zane, but also really excited for Zane's future. And he speaks very highly of him. And anyone who knows Chris, his words are never minced. So we're really excited. You can't undersell the difficulty of the job. He's got 25, 30 Hawthorn listed players that he has an involvement with. He's got over 30 Box Hill players that want his time. So he's trying to manage 50 to 60 players in any given week. So it requires a lot of effort. It requires a lot of discipline. And what we've seen with Zane is, so I always tell this story, Matt. I was at a function with Taylor Duray, former Hawthorn player, and I said to him, must be tough getting a spray from Clarkson. He goes, no, Fagan. If Fagan gives you a spray, that's, you really feel it. And we've seen that with Zane. Zane he's a great relationship builder, but he can set his eyes and let you know pretty quickly if he's not happy. And when you think about having to manage 50 or 60 players each week, he doesn't have the luxury of smooth talking. He's got to be in there and pretty blunt, and everyone's really appreciating his skill set and his ability to communicate.
It might be a good one to unpack a little bit with him next time we get him on, just how he does approach that and the psychology and the different groups and personalities. So fascinating. But look, you've got a VFLW team, debuting this year, which is, they've just played, was it yesterday?
Yep, played yesterday and yesterday.
Yeah, notched up a win. Well done, Cherie. Taking the girls through for their first win, which is amazing.
Yep.
What's new at the club, Ed? We've seen it's been quite a summer. You put your hand up, and the cards didn't quite fall the way you might have hoped as far as the board representation, but you are back, and some compliments in the comments here. People big supporters of you, Ed, and the way you go about it. So to have someone that's solid at the helm at Box Hill and still unwavering in his support of the Hawks, it's amazing to have you on board. But you've got a big year ahead. Tell me about this year. What's been happening?
Well, I was going to say, Matt, it's not hard to maintain your enthusiasm when you're dealing with people like Zane Littlejohn and his energy and his passion. Welcoming back the VFLW program, that's particularly exciting. We talked about the large number of players that Zane has to deal with. Cherie's got 30 listed Box Hill players, another 20 aligned, and then the Hawthorn listed players are also eligible to play. So she's got over 70 players that she's dealing with for the upcoming season. So she's really having to focus and make sure she's communicating hard. Getting the team back in has been really important. I've described it as it completes us as a football club. So that's been great, but a lot of work being done. Carly Barnes, our vice president, sort of headed up the subcommittee that worked with their reintroduction. So that's been great. We're still well advanced in terms of getting the redevelopment up and running. Most of you will be aware we've got the financing. That's now sort of just working our way through, making sure that the detail of the redevelopment is in place. So we're hoping that shovels can go into the ground reasonably quickly. And the two other things that we're spending a lot of time on is working hard to connect with the Chinese community in Box Hill. We had a Lunar New Year function about a month ago now. There's about 120 people at the function, and probably only 10 of them whom English was their first language. So that was fantastic. We signed our first sponsor, a company called Stone Mart, who make tombstones. Everyone will need them at some stage. So that was really exciting, and we're continuing to build that out. And the other part is working hard with the eastern community, whether it be Eastern Rangers or down through Gippsland. And you'll have seen that we've got a game down through Gippsland, I think round 5 or 6 against Casey, and we're really looking forward to taking Box Hill down that path. And we've had wonderful feedback from lots of people who are looking forward to playing community-based. So they're the 3 or 4 programs we're really concentrating leading into 2023.
Yeah, brilliant. Lots of plates spinning. It's exciting things happening at the club on many levels. So your thoughts, Ed, as the president? I don't know. I should have asked Zane, but conscious of the time. The process of appointing captains, and we get co-captains this year in Hugh Beasley and Cal Porter. Give me your thoughts on those two being appointed.
So I think the first part is that I steer very clear of the involvement. I think appointing of your leadership group and your captains needs to be done from very much your inner sanctum of your team. And so I really only spoke to Cherie and Zane once they got to the pointy end of that, and very thorough and rigorous processes that the guys had followed to get to that point. I've been pretty open with my admiration for any of the boys on the Box Hill list. There's no one playing football at Box Hill in 2023 that's doing it for the money. They're doing it for a variety of reasons, but money's certainly not one of them. And I look at Hugh and Cal, and they're just beautiful young men, and so driven and so focused, obviously talented. And I gain a lot of energy from working with those guys, and Stewie Horner as well. I gain a lot of energy from the energy that they provide and the focus they provide. So, and what we've seen this year that so Hughes really has been that reasonably established leader. Cal's coming on the scene. Cal's got a wonderful connection with the young group of 18, 19-year-old lads. We typically have 12 to 15 guys of that age, and Cal's really well connected with those guys. So, no, I'm excited for them. I think it's great. I think Cal came out and said it was the highlight of his football career to be appointed as co-captain. And, I was quite emotional when I was chatting to him about it, and, just having guys like him, his parents come to every game. They love it. So passionate. It's just great fun.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, I'm sure it will be an exciting year. We did plan for Talking Hawks a little event at, I hope it would be more than a little event at City Oval. We'll reschedule that. So thanks for working in with us around that. So we're looking at the mid-year point, yet to land on a date. Just want to align something with Box Hill dates and Hawthorn dates. But fans, we'd love you all to join us and rub shoulders with the brown and gold of both varieties, but just look to really have a unifying sort of day. So more details to come there. But Ed, you've got opportunity for that suburban feel. Box Hill City Oval is a great venue. How can Hawthorn fans get across some of this young talent? Because we're not going to see them all, as Zane said, at the AFL level. How can they get around and see some of this exciting young crop and some of these guys that, as you said, are bringing so much to the table in these leaders in Bees and Ports and Horner?
Well, I think if I go to the first point, Hawthorn's round 1 side against Exeter next Sunday is likely to have 5 ex-Box Hill players on starting on the ground, which is a remarkable effort. And we're trying to work out, does anyone at any level have produced that amount of players for a round 1 side? So part of our job is to provide Hawthorn a pathway to produce young players. I think in terms of the involvement, we've got 9 home games. We'd love to see people at the game. Feel free to come and say good day to me, and we'll take you into the rooms after the game just to see what the process is, take you into the rooms before the game. We have this wonderful mix between community but also high performance, and we don't steer away from the fact we are a high-performance football club and we need to behave that way, but we still can have community. And I love nothing more than watching at quarter time, half time, three-quarter time, all the kids kicking the football, all the dads listening into the conversations from the various huddles. So I think that's that's the first part. The second piece is a lot of people are involved in their own community sides, and a really quick story, Matt. But we did a program to just a community-based program where it was come and try out to get onto the Box Hill list. And I have to admit, I was a bit, I thought, well, particularly at the VFL level, the pathways are reasonably set. We sort of know where most of the talent sits. VFLW, I understood a little bit more because we're still developing those complete pathways. But from the come and try it day in October, November, we've got now 4 VFL boys who are on our list. It's quite remarkable. And I think 3 of them from Frankston YCW, and they all had reasons where they weren't playing with Dandenong Stingrays and they weren't in that pathway. But they've clearly shown a lot of talent, and Zane's been driving forward with those. So, you'll get the opportunity to watch them play locally. I understand 1 or 2 of them might even play round 1, which is just a remarkable effort from guys who weren't in an AFL system or the AFL system. I don't want to say Jai Newcomb's name too loudly, but it echoes Jai's never played a game for Gippsland Power. And, a couple of years later, he's runner-up in Hawthorn's best and fairest. There's loopholes and there's failures in this system to identify talent. And we see it very much as our job to help Hawthorn find that talent, develop them, and give them the opportunity to move forward. So Zane, kept his cards pretty close to his chest, but there's some good kids there. There's some really good kids there.
That's all right. Stephen asked a question a little while ago. I'm going to raise it now because it's quite fitting. Have you considered a Box Hill reserve side to play in a local league so that you can obviously keep that development, that pathway? What are your thoughts? Have you looked at that?
Yeah, we have. Look, it's a great question. There's fair to say there was a fair bit of pushback from a lot of the community sides when the conversation was just starting to kick off. And it was clear to us that the obstacles were going to be too great. So we decided to go back the other way and work hard with the local clubs. So Dave Banfield is our development coach. He would speak to 15 senior coaches every week about where the young guys are going, how they were going, how it was playing out. I suspect if we looked at it 6 or 7 years ago, our relationship with the feeder clubs was probably just okay. Now we want to make it a really strong relationship that they actually take a great deal of pride in having the young guys come through. So it does stretches. I think any given time we'll have 16 or 17 games that Box Hill players will be representing somewhere. But we've made a commitment to get to every one of those games. It might only be for a half. They'll get feedback from one of our development coaches for every game to make sure that they're in the loop. So I think so back to the original question, it's something we've explored. We'd love, in some regards, the development league to come back in, but it's at some stage to say, well, it's just not going to happen. Let's make sure we build a trusting relationship with the feeder clubs that they're comfortable that they're being told things as early in the week as we know them. It's nothing worse than getting a Friday 9 o'clock call to say that 3 of your players have been pulled out to play the Box Hill. So we're really ahead of the schedule as much as possible, and that's working really well. It's not to say we don't have our bad weekends where guys are. Some of the senior coaches are a bit Dave Brinker-Ritchie was a good example where he got pulled out late one day, and we sort of had to manage that for a week or two. But that's the price we pay, and we just got to be respectful of these guys. Are very conscious that the community coaches are putting in 40 hours a week, and we've got to be respectful of their efforts and just make sure we're honest and upfront with them as early as possible.
Yeah, it's a lot to coordinate, a lot to stay across when you do want to have those eyes everywhere, and obviously, feeding in, giving them every opportunity to be involved in the program and keep them part of it. I love what Zane said, and I've heard that echoed many times in the Box Hill when I've been down there. Just that once you've been a Box Hill player, always Box Hill player. So it's a great legacy that we still proudly continue on. And I see here Julie's saying she's got to get down and see a Box Hill game at some stage. Julie, we will be down there talking Hawks. If anyone's interested in joining us, we'll get along to see Ed and some of the Box Hill crew at a few of the lunches that they put on. So drop your details in talkinghawks.com. We'll send out an email when we're going to go around, or try and let you know on some of our socials. If you want to join us on the table.
I think we've got 4 double headers at Box Hill City Oval this year, which would be fantastic for both the
There we
VFL and VFLW. So they'll be big days. I think April 16th we play Collingwood, both VFL and VFLW. So that'll be really, really exciting.
Double headers. Well, look, Mac might not join us, but he's tuning in from Portugal. So this is what Talking Hawks is all about here, Ed. Hawks fans from around the world. Thanks, Mac. Maybe we'll get you along someday. But Ed, thank you. I know we've gone a little bit over. Appreciate your time. We love supporting both clubs with all our passion. Want to hear and expose as much as we can some of your talent, your staff, and just bring people across both clubs and see that Hawthorn family continue to grow. So, Ed, any parting thoughts for this season?
No, I just really thank you and your support for both me personally, for Box Hill. It is really greatly appreciated. We're excited about being able to spread our part of the world as broadly as you guys do. In terms of expectations for 2023, well, again, we don't recoil from the fact we're a high-performance club. We've said strategically, we don't talk about winning premierships. We talk about finishing top four. And aspirationally, we want to finish top four this year for both teams. And so far, so good, but there's a long way to go.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, thanks very much for joining us. And to all your supporters, thanks for joining us. Have a great week. And until we see you next time, go Hawks.
Thanks, mate.
Ed. Cheers.
Cheers.